Hey everybody, it's me, Ian. Now, this video may seem a little different from what I usually do, and that's because it is. Some of you may have heard of this series called Beastars, and quickly dismissed it for various reasons, whether it be because of the mature content found within said series, the focus on anthropomorphic characters, the sometimes jarring CGI, or the fact that it is not legally streaming anywhere due to Netflix holding it hostage until early 2020. Regardless, I just wanted to talk about this series for a bit, as I have been reading the manga since early this year and have been following the anime very closely. Beastars has become one of my favorite manga of recent times, even reaching the heights of my top 2, closely behind Oyasumi Punpun. The art style in the manga is amazing, and mangaka Itagaki Haru does an excellent job portraying emotion within the characters and creating a well-developed setting with wondrous amounts of world building within each chapter. When I heard the news that Beastars would be animated by Studio Orange, I was cautiously optimistic, seeing as how Orange did a good job on Hoseki no Kuni, and I figured they would not let me down in adapting Beastars. The short answer? They didn't. The long answer? Well, let's just jump right into it. Beastars takes place in a world full of anthropomorphic characters living in a society where herbivores and carnivores are trying to coexist. We follow our main character Legosi, the Grey Wolf, who is very timid and rather reserved, despite many looking down on him throughout his life. He eventually meets Haru, a white dwarf rabbit, and without spoiling too much, he begins to develop feelings for her, while also fighting off his natural instincts to eat her. The story in Beastars is one that is quite unique, given the setting. Most stories written with anthropomorphic characters are usually aimed towards kids, but Itagaki Haru uses her characters and setting to tackle more mature issues, such as discrimination, cannibalism, interspecies relationships, violence, drugs, and much more. The great thing about this story is that it covers an extended period of time, so we get to see our characters grow after overcoming many obstacles and changes, which is something most stories don't get the chance to do. In the Beastars anime, it only covers around 50 of the 157 chapters that are out at the time of this recording, which is about a third of the story and mostly consists of the first major story arc revolving around developing Legosi and Haru's relationship. The story after that, in my opinion, gets even better, and I hope one day we will be able to see the rest of the story animated, but for now, I am content with the way the Beastars anime handled the story, even if it seems a bit rushed at points, cutting off some scenes that may have provided a bit more world building and character development. Overall, 9 out of 10 story. Beastars is very highly regarded due to having excellent characters with amazing development throughout the series. Every character is unique and very hard to describe due to the many layers each character have, but I'll do my best to give a quick rundown on the main characters. Legosi is a grey wolf who is often feared by others for being a large carnivore, but is actually rather shy and awkward. He often holds back his more carnivorous features in order to better appeal to his herbivore peers. Legosi is very conscious of himself and often does what he can to downplay himself. Haru is a white dwarf rabbit who Legosi ends up trying to eat when they first meet. Due to circumstances, they meet again, Haru having no recollection of Legosi being the one that attacked her. She is known around school for being easy to get with, but all Haru wants to do is be accepted and not looked down upon. She often keeps people at a distance, and she is also abrasive and blunt. Luis is a red deer who is the leader of the drama club that Legosi is a part of. Many adore him and see him as a candidate for becoming a Beastar, which is a title given to those who will play an important role in society. Luis appears to be arrogant and self-righteous, but underneath his layers, he is really insecure about being physically weak. He serves as a rival of sorts to Legosi, and he is jealous of the strength Legosi possesses but doesn't use. There are many more characters that get introduced throughout the story, but these three are the ones with the most development, and we spend a lot more time with them than anyone else. The character writing in the story is great, with Itagaki Haru giving every character a distinct personality with many layers behind them and further developing these characters by putting them in situations where they are forced to adapt and change. The anime does a good job of keeping the characters true to their manga form, and they are just as lovable as they are in the manga. The animation really brings these characters to life in a way different from the manga. Where the manga is full of great artwork and panels showing expression, the anime does the same thing, but adding motion to the characters also brings them to life, such as Legosi's tail moving, or the way the anime uses split screens to show two characters at once, or reflections to show how characters are viewing themselves in that moment. The characters in Beastars really drive home just how amazing this story is, and I'm glad we are able to follow these characters on their journey of growing up in the society they live in. 10 out of 10 characters. I'm no expert when it comes to animation or music, so I'll just touch on these topics briefly. The animation in Beastars is done by Studio Orange, which is a traditionally CGI animation studio. They are well known for doing the anime adaptation of Hoseki no Kuni, which is loved by many for being one of the first anime to get CGI right by having dynamic camera motions, amazing scenery, detailed character movement, and breathtaking action scenes. Studio Orange keeps up this quality while adapting Beastars. Though not sticking to the manga art that much, the animation team takes the essentials of the character designs and adapts them for motion, which leads to some pretty slick movements and expressive characters. The music in the show is also great. Composer Satoru Kosaki worked on the Monogatari series before this, and it really shows, seeing as how each song matches the tone of the scene they are using, and the soundtrack is comprised of a variety of different song styles, from piano ballads to jazz to upbeat. The opening, Wild Side by Ali, is also an amazing song, accompanied by an opening video done mostly in stop motion thanks to Studio Dwarf. The stop motion in the opening is great, and really captures the spirit of Beastars. Overall, the animation and music both bring concepts to the anime that couldn't be fully realized in the medium of manga. 9 out of 10. If you have already read/watched Beastars, then this section may not apply to you, but I hope you listen as well. Beastars is a story that has the theme of discrimination, while also being a story that is discriminated against. The manga was already a turnoff for most people, as some would assume just by looking at the cover of the manga, or out of context manga panels, that this series was some type of quote-unquote furry shit, and furries do not have the best reputation on the internet. I myself am not a furry, but I have immensely enjoyed this manga along with many others. You do not need to be a furry to enjoy this series, and you do not turn into a furry if you do enjoy this series. So people who thought Beastars was furry shit won't get into it, so what? Well, that is a large majority of people already, so that aspect alienates a lot of potential fans. The anime also has two major things going against it right now: the CGI animation and the fact that at this point in time, there is no legal way to stream it. Anime fans can be picky when it comes to CGI. Some fans complain that CGI is too overused and never any good, while some fans won't even give CGI anime a chance. And there's also the amount of people who only watch anime legally and will not pirate. These two aspects, along with the furry aspect, have alienated a lot of people from potentially getting into this show, and I think that's kinda sad. Beastars is an amazing series, as I have already established. The story and settings are very well handled, the characters are written with immense depth and development, the art style in the manga is very creative, and the animation and music in the anime complement the series very well. I find it funny how a series that has discrimination as one of its main themes has many aspects of it that people use to discriminate it. Like I have said, enjoying Beastars won't make you a furry. The CGI work in the anime is amazing, and although it is not legally available anywhere, Netflix has stated that they will stream it starting sometime early 2020 outside of Japan. So if you want to wait until then, go for it. If you don't have the patience but still want to get into the series legally, then Viz Media has licensed the manga volumes and has released the first 3 volumes, covering around 6 episodes of the anime. If you're wondering why I'm advocating so much for this series, it's because I believe it deserves much more recognition than it already has. The characters of Beastars have really resonated with me, and I love a lot of them. I love seeing Legosi's development throughout the series, how he changes over time, and how his relationship with Haru grows bit by bit. I love seeing Haru stand up for herself more over time and seeing how much she has opened up to Legosi. I love seeing Luis go through many different aspects of his life and seeing how he has also changed due to the actions of characters around him. I love the setting of Beastars and how it's able to tackle real human issues with anthropomorphic characters. I love the art style of the manga. The sketchy aspect of it is a real treat to look at, and I adore Itagaki Haru for the way she writes characters and makes them feel alive. Beastars has quickly become one of my favorite works of art, and I highly recommend that you check it out. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.